All right, there we are. Good morning. Happy, what is it, Wednesday? Who knows anymore? Time is irrelevant. Happy Wednesday. Happy beautiful day out there. I have 2 tables that I'm going to set up outside today. If anybody wants to work outside today after I'm done with the demo, it's already really nice out there, so feel free to do so. People at home, go outside. Go work on your front step. Go work on your porch. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to jump into a demo in just a little bit. I'm going to take attendance here quick first. So we've got Meredith, Reese, Raina, and Leah today. Lansky. Okay, and we've got Jada, Isabel, AJ, No Hassan, Yvette. We've got JJ Davis, Divine, James, and Coyote, Thomas, and Josh Simon. Okay, and then we have Sarah and Saraya, Chase, Katie Ackerman, Ava Shia, Jack, and Zoe. Awesome. All right, thanks. So if you take a look up at the screen, hey ladies, just a quick review on what we talked about yesterday. So we did start a new project yesterday, and it is a raku project in that it is being made with raku clay. If you weren't here yesterday, I will catch you up on what you missed yesterday, because we kind of did a lot yesterday. Or, you know, someone in class can catch you up on what we did. But basically we got raku clay, which I'm realizing I didn't put out yet, so I'll put that out for you. And then what we're making is a box or a candle holder or an incense holder or something like that. And we're working in a very different style than we've worked with before. We're using a kurinuki technique, which is a carving technique, a subtractive technique. And yesterday we made our block. So today we're going to be carving. Today we're going to be subtracting. Today we're going to be kurinukiing. And we're working in a style or an aesthetic that we would call wabi-sabi. It's based on nature. It doesn't have to be perfect. There are some things that I'm going to ask you to do, like, for example, as you're carving today, I want you to try and keep your walls consistent as you're carving. So wabi-sabi doesn't mean no rules. It just means that it doesn't have to be this quintessentially, stereotypically perfect looking sphere or cube or cylinder or, you know, things that maybe we've been used to doing. So it's more based on a shape you might find in nature. So yesterday we paddled our clay and got these wonderfully wabi-sabi little forms. So today we're going to actually make them functional. So just as a reminder of what I'm looking for here, the box should be carved from a solid chunk of clay when the clay is dry leather hard. My guess is when we open up our bags today, our clay is not going to be dry leather hard. It's probably going to be either still plastic or like moving into the leather hard stage, but that's fine. We'll still be able to carve today. If you go sit outside and do your carving, it'll actually get dry leather hard really relatively. So the thing we're going to focus on today is trying to get the walls of the box consistent. So we're going to do the majority of our carving today. Tomorrow we're going to do just a little bit more fine tuning with our carving, and then we're going to add a flange tomorrow. And your finial is going to get added tomorrow. Remember, the finial is the handle that goes on top. So whatever your good finial is that you made yesterday, keep that bagged up. Keep that nice and pliable and workable. The 2 finials that you made that were the ones you weren't going to use, because remember I asked you to make 3. 1 you're going to use, 2 were kind of like excess. The 2 that you made that were excess, we're working on getting those to be dry, just like with our fortune cookies, so we can slate them down. And I think that probably because all of you had your finials in your lockers, they're probably not dry enough to slate today. People at home, maybe your pieces are dry enough to slate, but we'll all just do it tomorrow. And then the lid needs a flange. We'll talk about that more tomorrow, and a creative finial or handle. And overall, the piece should look purposeful, unified, intentional. Even though it's going to be wabi-sabi, it should look like you kind of made some informed choices as you were making the project. So we're gonna watch this quick little video of a time-lapse kurinukiing. So this actually looks real similar to a lot of our pieces. This person did not include a flange, the little fitted thing that makes the lid keep from sliding around. So that's one difference from this video. So we beat up the solid chunk of clay, top and bottom included. Took a wire tool, we cut off the lid either on the upper third or the lower third, either one was fine. This is what you're going to be doing today. You're going to mark the exterior wall so you know exactly where your cutting will go. And then you're going to use the ribbon tool to scoop out the interior of the lid and the interior of the box. So this is that repetitive, kind of satisfying motion that you're going to be doing a lot of today. You're also going to mark the walls of the box before you start scooping. For this person, marking the walls was really pretty easy because their square was still basically a stick, their box is a square. For some of us, myself included, my form is not a rigid square, and so I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful as I mark that out, which I'll talk about later. We really only have one type of carving tool. People at home, you have one type of carving tool. Although, those people at home, if you want, you can make a carving tool by taping a paper clip to a pencil and make your own ribbon tool for carving. So as you can see, I mean, she's just continuing to carve. It takes a little bit of time. So it's going to take all of today to do our carving. And then we'll do the refining last bit of carving tomorrow after we've added up. Okay, so these are our steps for today. I'm going to leave that frozen up on the screen. And I'm going to have you guys come over to table 6, please, for the demo. Do that. And do I need to get the raku clay out right now? All right. So obviously the first thing you need to have in front of you today is your paddled box from yesterday, your paddled shape. Come on in, guys, you can get in closer. And so this was the one I made in your class yesterday. I paddled the top, I paddled the bottom. I ran a wire tool in the bottom third because this is going to be maybe a candle holder, an incense holder. So the cone of incense or the candle is going to go there. And then I'm going to cut some holes in this top part here so that when the light is inside there or the incense is inside there, it's going to come out in some of these little deeper grooves that I've paddled in. So that's kind of the overall thing that I am going for. My finial was a little bird. That I'm not going to put on today. I'm going to wait until I have slip tomorrow. My finials are dry enough to slake to make raku slip, but I think yours are probably not because they were in your locker all night last night. So we'll let them dry out in your locker for one more day. Just make sure they're not covered. So I'm going to start by setting the lid aside here. And I still have my little mark, my key. That's on the bottom of my my box. And so I'm going to keep that there. I'm going to try not to eliminate that because that's going to tell me which way my lid goes on. And I mentioned in the video, they showed in the video, that the first thing you're going to want to do is mark where your walls are going to be cut, about 1/4 of an inch in from the edge. Now, because my shape is a weird shape, It's not like I can just, I mean, I guess I could draw kind of an ovally sort of shape that's a fourth of an inch in from the edge. I don't know how much a ruler is really going to help me. So I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to draw a shape that is about a fourth of an inch in from the edge on all sides. And I'm going to kind of cut down a little bit. I don't know how much you can tell I'm doing, that I'm doing this here, but I'm kind of cutting down. Like the needle was about a half inch embedded as I was doing that carving. So that's actually going to help me. I'm going to put this on my towel. You all still hopefully have your little towel scrap in your locker. It's just going to help cushion your work. So by cutting down, it's just going to make taking my clay away a little easier. So I'm going to use my ribbon tool. I'm using the rounded end. I don't know that the rounded end versus the triangle end is going to be, if either one is better, probably doesn't really matter. Later on, as we get to the lower part of the pot, maybe you'll want to use the triangle end because you'll get a sharper corner that way. So I am just carefully trying to remove that clay little by little, kind of doing the rough carving at this point. And the clay is really soft yet, which is good. It means it removes easily. And also it's good because if you accidentally cut through, it'll be easy to repair it, since it's so soft today. So I can just take a little bit of this clay that I carved and patch in any areas where I accidentally carve through. So don't carve too deep, too quick, because that's where you lose control. So just little bits at a time, and pay attention to the overall profile of your pot. So mine gets narrower down at the bottom. So I have to be aware that my carving also has to get narrower as it goes to the bottom. So I would continue to carve that out until when I use my fingers, I want to try and guess and kind of gauge my thickness. I want it to be about a fourth of an inch thick. So it's kind of a guessing game. You'll have to kind of pinch and see, okay, how far apart does that feel like it is? Because you're going for a fourth of an inch all the way like bottom and up the sides. Then you're going to do the same thing for the lid. This is where the towel really is going to come in handy, because when I set this lid upside down, I don't want to dent it. So having my towel there is going to help with that. And then same thing, I'm going to map out where my carving needs to go with my needle tool. And I'm kind of carving about a half inch down. And then I'm going to scoop that out in the same way. So the ideal scenario would be that this shape, this hole, and this hole are similar, because you're going to be adding a flange either to this piece or this piece, and we want them to fit, neatly together. But that's a problem we'll solve tomorrow. So don't worry about adding the flange today. Today is all about carving. When you finish for today, I'm not going to carve this in the demo. I think you get the gist of it, right? You know what you're doing. So when you're done carving for today, you've hollowed out the top part, you've hollowed out the bottom part, you've gotten it as close to a fourth of an inch as possible. I have left a little bit of a ragged edge there, so there's a lot of spurs there. So just use your fingertip to blend those away. Maybe don't use a sponge because we don't want to introduce a lot of moisture to this. So just use your fingertip to blend those into the clay, and then snap a picture that shows me the carving that you've done both in the bottom and the top, and that's your progress picture for today, okay? Finial stays wrapped up. This, when you're done with it, how did I say to wrap it up? It says bag your form tightly. I'm going to change that. I think what I'd like you to do is, once you've carved both of these things, put them next to each other on the tray, put it in your bag, but leave that bag open a little bit. Let it get a little bit more air for tomorrow so it can get closer to dry leather hard. And then we'll be able to do that fine tuning carving, final carving tomorrow, okay? And in fact, maybe what would be smart is if you store them like this, both upside down, right? Like that, because that way it'll keep this inside bit maybe a little bit more wet, because we still have to add a flange to that inside bit. So if you store them both sitting on their flat side in a bag, partially left open, I think that'll be ideal. Okay. So people who are here in person, any questions that you have before you go off and get to work? Okay, great. I'm going to put out the raku clay for those that might need it. People who are online, stay online. I'm going to touch base with you next. Oh, they're underneath the little shelf over there by the hairdryers. Yeah. Yes. So either talk to one of the guys at your table or wait till I'm done talking with these guys, and then I'll fill you in on what you missed. Okay. All right. I promise I'll be back in a sec. I think so, yeah. It's like story type stuff. What board over here? Were you running today too? I was. You were, okay. I'll come back and help you guys if you need it. Okay. Thanks for being patient, everybody. Let's touch base here. Need to get my attendance chart. Okay. Well, it's good that I'm recording all of this valuable class time that we're having right here. All right. Actually, I'm going to keep recording. Hi, good morning. I'm going to take attendance while I'm talking to you guys so we can kind of double duty here. So things that you guys at home need to know. If you're a VLA student, again, you have everything you need. You have your raku clay. You have a ribbon tool in your Ziploc baggie that I gave you. And so you should be good to go on doing everything you need to do today. You'll just have a toothpick instead of a needle tool for the carving drawing parts. If you're a quarantining kid, hopefully you picked up your raku clay already. But I don't remember. I know in the little baggie of raku clay, I gave you a wood block for paddling. Did I also include a ribbon tool? Can someone who picked up that bag of raku tell me if there was ribbon tools in there? Is Kip here? Oh yeah, Kip, you picked up the raku, I think, yesterday. Do you remember if there's a ribbon tool in the little bag?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Good. I didn't remember if I'd included that. If there isn't one, for some reason, if you didn't get a ribbon tool to be able to do the carving part of this assignment, you will have to find a paper clip and just tape the rounded end of that paper clip really firmly to a pencil or a marker and create your own ribbon tool. And that will allow you to do really the same thing. It's a pretty effective tool, believe it or not. Okay. So I'm just continuing to take attendance. What questions do you guys have for me while I'm taking attendance here? Six searing. Okay, if you want to stick around and ask a question, that would be awesome. Aaliyah Rodriguez, I'm going to ask you to stick around. I want to touch base with you about your photos. Ariana, want to touch base with you. And anybody else who wants to stick around and ask a question, that would be awesome. Otherwise, if you're pretty confident what you're doing here, you can sign off for today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yep, bye. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording.